Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing you another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse New 52 Nightwing in his red suit versus Red Hood. This is a 2-pack. This is the third 2-pack they've made so far. First we had Flash and Red Death, and then the Arkham variant of Batman vs. Joker. Really like the way these 2-packs are presented. The packaging is very nice, and they're in these action poses, which can be a good or bad thing. It looks cool, but will leave the figures with some warped limbs sometimes. So let's check out the packaging. Nightwing in his red suit looks to be a straight repaint of the other Nightwing versus Red Hood. Looks like they both have collector's cards, display stands, 2 pistols, 2 of his fighting sticks, DC Multiverse Nightwing and Red Hood, ages 12 plus. One side says Nightwing and Red Hood. Other side, same thing, a little smaller. Not much going on at the top. At the bottom, there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody, as well as a bunch of credits. And then the back, you can see there are 2 collector's cards blown up, as well as a bunch of other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So I purchased my figure for a website called CMD Store, and I paid about $20 extra, which really, I do not like doing that, but I wanted this Red Hood really bad. Now, there were pre-orders for this at Target.com, but they sold out really quick, and Amazon currently has pre-orders open for him. So if you want him, get your pre-order locked in now. These figures look great. Cannot wait to dig in, so let's do just that. And I did end up getting 2 of these sets, one of which to open and enjoy, and one to keep in my complete, unopened 6 and 7-inch Batman action figure collection. And before we fully dig in, I popped the figures out of the package. Pretty much still in their same poses. You can definitely see Nightwing's stick is quite warped, so if there are any warping issues, boiling water is your best friend. They will revert these figures back to the way they're supposed to be. Alright, now that we got these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. They both come with a collector's card, a display stand. Nightwing comes with his Eskrima sticks, and Red Hood has 2 pistols. And yes, they are removable. They can go into his holsters or his hands. Take that, Deathstroke. But before we look at the accessories, let's check out the actual figures. So here's a new 52 Nightwing, which I believe to be a straight repaint off the original Nightwing release, but we will check that out later in the video. It looks good, and it's a variant that makes sense, although I definitely prefer the blue Nightwing costume myself. His eyes are red, makes him look a little bit evil. Hair looks good, combed over to the side. His logo looks excellent. I noticed in his butterfly joints it doesn't have the red stripe. Looks like double jointed elbows, a lot of different detail, a little buckle there, the different texturing on his arm. His costume looks pretty good. Diaper piece looks a little bad. Don't recall that looking like that on the first one. Double jointed knees, different texturing on his thighs versus the rest of the suit. A lot of attention to detail. Looks very nice so far. Not really seeing too many warped parts with his actual body, just with his accessories. And then Red Hood. This is the one I was waiting for. His helmet looks great. The sculpting lines, the shiny paint job. He's got his collar popped. This guy definitely thinks he's cool. Sleeves are rolled up. The bat symbol on his chest. The armor detail. He looks excellent. I can see his holster is a little bit warped. Easy to fix that. Just dunk him in some hot water. Should go right down. Looks like it doesn't have the traditional ball in the wrist. Looks a little different. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Really like what I'm seeing. A classic, fantastic, well articulated 7-inch scale Red Hood. So in this video, we'll take a look at both the figures. We'll look at their accessories, height, and articulation, and we'll compare them to a bunch of other Nightwing and Red Hood figures. After that, we'll take the 2 figures and compare them with some other action figure lines so you know how they fit in. So, I like to save the best for last. Let's go and start off with Nightwing. So here's Nightwing with all of his accessories laid out. Let's start off with the boring stuff. He comes with his display stand, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, got the DC logo at the bottom, 1 peg for the peg holes in our feet, very thin, very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. This is a recreation of the cover of Nightwing #1 from the New 52 in 2011. And it just so happens I have this book right here. Here's this 2-pack Nightwings card next to the original release Nightwings card. I half expected them to just simply release the same card with a silver border. Please they didn't, as they are from completely different source materials. Now let's look at his eskrima sticks. Boy, is that right one sure warped. I plan to take some boiling water, dip it in there, and I fully expect it to revert back to being straight with no intervention from me. Now these things look okay, a little bit of texture on the handle there. Beyond that, not much to talk about. And just like I expected, threw them into some boiling water for a minute or two, and they completely straightened up. Here he is, holding the eskrima sticks. And like most other good Nightwing figures, he can holster his sticks onto his back. And he is articulate enough to reach back and pull his sticks off his back. I must say, I appreciate that more than you know, McFarlane. Thank you. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, sitting at about 7.1 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 18 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course it can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down about that much. He can even tilt his head from side to side, giving him a nice amount of personality. Shoulders on a ball joint, they can go up quite a bit more than 90 degrees. Very nice there. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. Does have a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, just increasing the range of motion here. It's got a bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that. His wrist has a ball in it. Can rotate around, and it's going to be hinged as well. Got a ball joint in his torso. This top one is hidden very nicely. Can rotate around. Can also go forward and back. Another ball joint down here. I'm just not really liking how this one looks. I think it's because the diaper's not quite flush with his torso. Can rotate around. Can also go forward and back, giving him a very wide range of motion in his torso. Very nice. Legs. They're not on ball joints, but a similar type concept. They can go out this far. They really cannot swivel very much. I would say that's pretty much non-existent. They go forward about that far, back about that far. Double jointed knees below that to go all the way back. And then his ankle here, it's got a ball. It can go up, it can go down. It can rotate around. There's toe articulation. And then it can tilt and rock as well. And because he has no cape, Nightwing can sit down, no problem. Here he is at the back computer. Now let's check him out next to some other Nightwing figures, starting off with the original McFarlane Nightwing. Here he is next to the original McFarlane Nightwing. This Nightwing's in his traditional blue costume, and I was curious if there were any sculpting differences besides the obvious red paint difference. So let's check them out. Looks like their heads are the same, although he's got the red eyes, the black mask. Going further down, everything looks to be the same. The logo is painted on the exact same sculpted area, which actually makes this inaccurate. His logo is different at the New 52. Going further down, looks like the arms, the legs, there are literally no differences on these guys, and that's what I expected, but just wanted to be sure. A couple of things that made this costume inaccurate, because McFarlane simply wanted to do a re-release and repaint. First, his chest logo, as you can see on the actual book, it's quite a bit bigger and lower than this one. This is the Rebirth design here. And then also on his gauntlets, he should have the Batman fin sticking out. On the figure, he sure does not. Now this is not the first time they've given us a Nightwing in a red suit. In front of you, you can see 5 different versions. The most recent one being the DC Collectibles, DC Essentials, New 52 Nightwing. And as odd as it is, DC Essentials is a line known for straight reuse. Pretty much every figure uses the same body, but they managed to get his symbol right, and they even gave him some fins on his gauntlets here. So between these two Nightwing figures, the McFarlane DC Multiverse New 52 Nightwing and the DC Direct DC Collectibles DC Essentials New 52 Nightwing, which one do you guys like better? This one probably has a little bit better articulation. They're scaled very similarly. The accessories, I'd say I like his sticks a little bit better. He has a lot more accuracy as far as the Nightwing logo and the gauntlets. They're both very nice figures. Which one do you guys prefer? Drop me a line in the comments below. I hate to say it, I think I'm going to give it to the DC Essentials Nightwing. The blue McFarlane Nightwing has become my favorite go-to Nightwing, but as far as both these companies making a variant that I don't care too much about, I think DC Essentials did a little bit of a better job. I'm not going to lie, that's actually a really hard decision. Both these figures have their pros and cons. They both have their flaws, but are both really nice figures. Here he is, next to all the different DC Direct and DC Collectibles Nightwing figures that I have. I'm missing at least the 2 different paint variations of the first appearance Nightwing. Would love to track that down one day. And here he is, next to all the different Mattel Nightwing figures that I have. I'm missing the DC Superheroes Nightwing, and I believe he was released in both the Batman and DC Superheroes line. Here's my entire 6 and 7 inch Nightwing collection. I hope to track down the couple I'm missing in the future. Here he is, next to a custom Nightwing. This Nightwing is Tad Ryersad. When Nightwing got his own solo series, Tad here was inspired by him and became a vigilante. Of course, he got off on the thrill of being a vigilante. They worked together for a very brief period of time, as Tad ended up being a danger to both himself and others. And here he is, next to a DC Direct Power Girl as Nightwing figure. Nightwing's real identity is Dick Grayson. Here's a Dick Grayson in civilian attire that I threw together. Then, here he is next to a Dick Grayson as Batman from the Batman R.I.P. and Batman Reborn storylines. And I'm sure you guys are all aware, but Dick Grayson was the first Robin. Here he is next to all the different Dick Grayson as Robin figures that I have. Now let's take a look at the Red Hood. Here he is with all of his accessories. He does come with the same display stand as Nightwing. Now let's check out his collector's card. This is from a panel from Deathstroke number 15 from 2016 in the Rebirth comics. Mildly interesting. It says New 52 at the bottom. It also says New 52 on the back here. But the source material they're referencing is from the Rebirth comics. Don't get me wrong, Red Hood's design didn't change too much between those 2 periods, but it's an inaccuracy nonetheless. And even though it's not from the cover of Deathstroke number 15, it's from a panel at the very last page, and I'll say the figure looks spot on from the source material. Now let's check out his pistols. Pure silver. One little detail I like, they got a little bat symbol on the barrel there. Looks pretty cool. A lot of sculpting detail. The fact that it's pure silver loses a little bit of that detail there. And I'll say at least one of my 2 guns is rather warped, so I'm going to have to use the hot water to fix that. Since I'm about to use some hot water, I might as well fix his holsters at the same time anyway. Hot water worked like a charm. Ducked him in there for about a minute and his holsters look a lot better. As do his pistols. Totally straightened up. Red Hood's pistols are exactly the same as the Flashpoint Batman's pistols, except they did add that little bat symbol. The Thomas Wayne pistol does not have that, and these are not the same mold as the McFarlane Fortnite pistols. The DC Direct Arkham Knight Red Hood's pistols also has some nice bat symbols on them. Here he is, holding his pistols. And here he is, with his pistols holstered. And he's articulated enough that he can reach back and take his pistol out of his holster. I really appreciate that. While not an accessory of his, I decided to check out a couple different heads on this guy. Here's the unmasked Jason Todd head from the DC Collectibles, the Batman Adventures Continue Red Hood. I love how you can hold his other head and it looks like his helmet's off. This head is definitely a little bit too small and doesn't sit as far down as it needs to, but still kind of cool. Here he is with the Mattel Multiverse Red Hood's unhelmeted head. He does have a mask on. This head is a little bit too small for the body, but I think actually it looks pretty good. I was able to push it down all the way after I heated it up. Pretty nice other option here. And then speaking of accessories for this guy that didn't come with him, here's a couple of motorcycles. I've always used this motorcycle for my Red Hoods in the past, but as figures are getting bigger and bigger, I think I'm going to upgrade to this one. This will be a motorcycle Batman provided for him. This one here came with an old Toy Biz Marvel Legends Logan and seems a little bit too small for this Red Hood. This one here came with a Hasbro G.I. Joe Baroness, which is also a smaller scaled figure, but the bike is huge. And I think I was right. This bike's a little bit better scaled for the Mattel type figures. This guy actually fits great on this bike, and I think it looks pretty good. The coloring is right for Red Hood. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to top, sitting at about 7.0 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair below 18 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course it can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down a pretty nice amount. He can tilt his head from side to side, giving him a nice amount of personality, and he can also achieve some cool gun poses. Shoulders on a ball joint go out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does have a butterfly joint. You can kind of see it here between his shoulder and chest area, just increasing the range of motion in his shoulder. He's got a bicep cut, well hidden with the sleeves rolled up. Double jointed elbows going about this far. Now his wrist here, it seems like it can only rotate. If it does have a hinge, you really cannot use it. In his torso here, he's got a ball joint in the middle, can rotate around, can go forward and back a lot. He's going to have another ball joint down here, can rotate around, can also go forward and back, giving him a wide range of motion in his torso. Legs, they can go out that far, not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. They can swivel a little bit. The hot water helped increase that. They can go forward that far, pretty nice. Back, not too much. Double jointed knees below that. Then his ankle, he's got that ball, it can go up and down, it can rotate, toe articulation, and it can tilt and rock as well. And because he has no cape, he can sit down in a chair, no problem. Here he is at the back computer. Now let's check him out, compared with some other Red Hood figures. Now McFarlane hasn't made any other Red Hood figures, but there is an upcoming single release of Red Hood. If you don't want to get him in the 2-pack with the New 52 Nightwing, and frankly, if I wasn't a completist, I wouldn't want the New 52 Nightwing, there is an upcoming single release that looks to be the exact same figure. I believe it's going to be a Walmart exclusive. I am going to get that one, although I don't know what I'm going to do with the extra Red Hood. Maybe I'll take his jacket off and make a Red Hood with the jacket removed. I don't know. It'd be nice if there was some kind of a difference, maybe the jacket being a different color, maybe the sleeves not being rolled up, something different to warrant me buying him twice. But just FYI, there is going to be another single release in the future. Here he is, next to all the different DC Direct and DC Collectibles Red Hood figures. This DC Essentials was my favorite, at least until now. Here he is, next to the Mattel Red Hood figures. And here he is, next to an older custom Red Hood figure I made. I made this figure years before any official releases. And here's my entire collection of Red Hood figures. And while not in his Red Hood outfit, here's a couple of other DC Direct Jason Todd figures. On the left, we've got Jason Todd as Hush. On the right, we've got Jason Todd as Batman. And technically, this guy's also Jason Todd. In the video game Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight turned out to be Jason Todd. They did incorporate the Arkham Knight into the comic continuity, recent history, and I don't believe that guy was Jason Todd. And until I find a better body, this is my Jason Todd in civilian attire. Sure, he's too small to go with this McFarlane Red Hood. And back in Mattel's DC Universe Classics, in Series 10, they made a classic Dick Grayson as Robin, and there was a head variant. In my collection, I always used the one on the left with the curls as Dick Grayson, and the one on the right is Jason Todd. In the original continuity, Jason Todd and Dick Grayson wore the same Robin costume. And while we're on the subject of Red Hood, here he is next to a couple of Joker in the Red Hood attire. And here he is with the Red Hood gang. He's going to have some fun taking these guys out. Here he is in my Red Hood shelf, getting ready for a new mission. You can see his helmet on the table, all the gear in his armory. And after he gets geared up, here he is driving his bike through the streets of Gotham. But little does he know, he's being followed. Here's Red Hood about to execute a couple of criminals. And of course, Nightwing disagrees, and Nightwing tells him, "You know I can't let you do this. It's not what we do." And Red Hood says, "They have information about the Red Hood gang. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this." And just as they start to fight, and now the situation has changed. They're surrounded and they have to help each other take out the Red Hood gang. And later on, here's the Nightwing and Red Hood taking on a gang of street thugs. They found out they work well together. Here's McFarlane's version of the Bat Family on a rooftop in Gotham. Here's this Red Hood next to a bunch of different versions of the Rebirth Bat Family. We've got Batwoman, Azrael, Nightwing, Batman, Batwing, Robin, Red Hood, Ace the Bat Hound, and Red Robin. Then we've got Huntress, Black Canary, Batgirl, Duke Thomas, The Signal, Katana, Bluebird, Orphan, and Spoiler. Now let's check them out, compared with some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's Red Hood, next to all the different comic-accurate versions of the modern Bat Family. The next one we're going to get is Damian, and I really hope they give us Batwoman, Red Robin, and all the rest of them. Here he is, next to the other 2-packs they've made so far. We have Flash and the Red Death, and we also have the tightened up, muddied up Arkham Asylum Batman vs. Joker. The next 2-pack is rumored to be a Superman vs. Devastator pack, but we've not heard an official announcement yet. Here they are with the entire McFarlane DC Multiverse collection. If you include all the variants, I've got a total of 48 figures, and I'm not even fully caught up. I still don't have the gold Deathstroke and gold Arkham Knight Batman, and there is so much stuff they've shown upcoming. And here's a slightly more aerial view of the entire collection. Now let's check them out, compared with some action figures from different various companies, to see how they fit in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix them with. Here they are with some of their McFarlane brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And here they are with some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here they are with some NECA figures. Then with some Mattel wrestling figures. And here they are next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here with some Mafex figures. Then with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here they are next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, here they are next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a fantastic figure set. Sure, they kind of duped me into buying Nightwing again, and I really didn't need him, but I would have got him as a single release anyway. This Red Hood is just amazing. His head sculpt and paint job is fantastic. His jacket, the bat symbol, the black armored look, it's all top notch. The Nightwing is pretty good as well, but not a necessary figure. I prefer my blue Nightwing to this one, so I could have passed on him if I wasn't a completist. Overall, if I were to rate these guys, probably give Nightwing a 6.5 out of 10, maybe being a little harsh on him, and I give Red Hood a solid 8.5 out of 10. He is my definitive and favorite Red Hood action figure they've made so far between all the different companies. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.